and we are starting part 2 of the Stoneheart video series, for which there are 2 parts. This will be the detailing section, the revamp section. And what do we have here? Got a figure that we want to do some minor touch-ups on. I've already started because I want to get the first step in the first part of the video. What you will need to do this stuff is Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel. The first thing you're going to do before you put anything on this figure is lightly spray some of this on it. Not enough to look like anything's happened. You see that? There's not really anything going on there, right? But it makes a layer on the figure that will make paint adhere, that will make marker adhere, that will make washes adhere. And you do that first. You let that dry. Then your quote-unquote coarse materials are for the spots. Seriously, just fucking Sharpies. I got a big Sharpie, I got little Sharpies, well then I have a brown Gundam marker for just a tiny little bit of detailing. And then for the actual like washes, we're going to use the quick shade blue and purple tone here. And those are the things that you'll need. And obviously, paintbrush and water. But anyway, we started the process. You saw the head last time. I've already started with what I was doing. What I've done here is I'm laying out the base patterns. I use my other figures as a reference, the way the dots kind of are on the heads and the musculature. I start with using a Sharpie, the big Sharpie, to do the base blocked out shapes and some spots. And then I kind of put them in clumps so it doesn't look too much like a marker dot. And then what I've also done that you're seeing here as well is I've added some additional smaller dots with the smaller Sharpie to break it up even further into a pattern so it again does not look like a marker. So it looks like the modeling that we did on the Mezco Predator video and we see on other figures and paintings and such. I've done some light patterning on the jaws, around the base of the head, and then I started with the purple and blue washes very lightly in the mouth. Well, that's not very lightly, that's kind of heavy in it, but you see what I'm saying. Started the washes in the mouth to add splotching and detail. And then, I chose the blue and the purple because he is an overall blue figure. I'm actually using some inspiration off of my first ever painted blue Predator I did back in the day. For some kind of reference there to do. But that's what we're going to start with here. Go over the body and pick yourself some patterning that you would like for the muscle. I'm probably going to kind of follow the muscle striations. I've seen some of that on some other Predator work. To do the big dots, do the little dots. And then after I do that, I'll come back and then, like I said, we'll find some accents with this marker. We might. Depends on how I feel, right? I do the worst tutorials when I don't explain things and I just kind of go on tangents. I might decide to use some paint on it like I did the Mezco, but for right now, we're going to say we'll try to do some accents with the brown marker. Brown just usually works as a good accent with these lightish, bluish, purplish colorishes. And then we'll probably do some washes on the body. I don't really feel like I want to do much with this armor, but that may change. I might decide maybe, because I just change my mind all the time, I might want to do some leathering with some metal paint, some dry brushing on the edges or something. I don't know. Maybe. We'll debate it. We'll think about it. But that's where we're starting. Okay, so continuing the process, what we have here is I have chosen to do with the Sharpies I showed you. I'm using the big Sharpie to do the basic shapes, just kind of splotching along the lines. I did look up, and I was just being silly about the Predator, the upgrade Predator that this is based on. Not based on, but the figure is sculpted off of. I looked at some reference pictures online to see where the lines were on its like pattern, and I used them as kind of a rough basis with took a little creativity here to do some bigger dots, and then I took the fine point Sharpie to do smaller dots. That's the first step. And then, I added my own additional patterning here on the feet, as you can see. And after that was done, I went and I used the I guess like a flesh color wash to do the nails, toenails, fingernails, teethies. That was the next step. And then as of now, I have started the step after, which I am taking the Army Painter Speed Paints. I am using plasmatic bolt with like medium, so I'm doing like 2 drops of bolt to 3 drops of medium to thin it out because I don't want it super strong. Because if you just hit it straight, it's going to straight turn your shit a bright color. And it's because it's still adding a bright highlight with what we're working with here. So then if you hop over here with the diluted mixture, you can see up on top here, I'm using it to add some green accents. I just want to bring it a little more into the green spectrum. why I'm picking the green. I could have gone a blue with it, but I already have several blue predators, blue things that I've done. I want him to be a little greener, and I'm going to kind of do some layers of this. I might do some patches of some green with some more blue in there as well to add more variety to the skin tone, and that will be the next step we do. So I just, what I'm doing now, I'm adding some different shades of colors using the speed paints mixed with the speed paint medium to thin them out. And just lightly, not everywhere, just in little blotches. You can see some places where it's not, to add variation to the skin tone. Just layer, layer, layer. And remember with these speed paints, they will reactivate within like a day-ish, because the 2.0s aren't out yet. These 1.0s will reactivate. So once you have a good solid layer, then you want to go and spray it with some matte varnish and seal that layer in before you add the next layer. So when I come back, I will have done that step. I will have done the green and probably some blues or some purples, whatever other accent choice color I will go for. I'll tell you when I get there what I've decided. Oh, fuck. Also in the mouth, we did some purple washes, which I think you could see that in the last video. I did a tiny little bit of black washes in some of the recesses just to make it pop more, so it looks more like skin and it looks like it has more dimension. And I remember what I did halfway through talking. I did add a little bit of black wash around the eyeballs to make them pop more. Minor touch. Okay, I'll be back. All right, welcome back to part 3, 4, 5, or whatever we're on now. So what we've done, did the dots with the marker, did a protective coat of matte varnish, did the speed paints diluted down, the speed paint medium. I did the same process. The first layer was plasmatic bolts at like 2 drops of this to 5 drops of this ratio. And then we did a follow-up with Hylor Blue. Same ratio. 2 drops of this, 5 drops of this. When you use these two, remember to shake them extremely well. If you can get one of those little mixers, they're tattoo ink mixers, for $30 on Amazon versus $100 for a actual paint mixer because you're paying for a label, get one of those. It's great for these. It's great for Turbo Dorks. It's great for all the paints. Anyway, so we went on it the second layer and we did the blue. And the blue, I just kind of added more to the just kind of accenting things, adding depth and volume, contrast. Big important words to mean things in art. But I just kind of follow the shapes of the body a little bit. Like obviously this figure already had some stuff for me to work with. It already had some darker recesses for me to understand. Like, oh, this should be a blue. It should be a little bit darker, right? And we kind of followed that, and we just kind of made some patterns to make the shapes pop, to give the shapes 3-dimensionality. Again, like a lot of this, I could just simply follow what's on the figure, because there's already some dark parts. And I did kind of choose to darken some areas that I wanted more detail, like the backs of the arms I chose to. And I went a little heavier on the spine. I just wanted to highlight that and give it some more business going on there. So that's kind of where we are now. So I guess the next step of this process, I don't know exactly in what order I'm going to go, but the more I think about it, the more I think I probably want to dry brush some metallic paints on these edges to make it look like worn metal. I'm going to do something with it. I don't know exactly yet, but either that or maybe Turbo Dork, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I want to, and this is a process you're going to go through when you customize things and when you paint things, because it's about like what kind of story you want to tell with your work, with figure repaint. Because if I'm doing this redesign with this guy, again, because I can take a lot of creativity, because there's not like high resolution photos. There's just some old shitty PlayStation 2 graphics to go off of. So do I want to make this look like a worn old piece of metal? Because if I did that, then I'm going to want to do some weathering. I'm going to basically dry brush some metal and maybe do some little bits of like rust or black paint in the middle to kind of make it look like the metal's ding further kind of thing. Maybe even some damage with the Dremel if I want to take that path. But then also it's like he does have this kind of super futuristic looking stuff. Maybe I may want to do the opposite of metal and make it look even fancier and shinier. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it does light up and illuminate like brand new technology kind of sort of stuff things. So I don't know, but I do know, for the skin at least, the next thing we probably want to do is do some little hand painting of some specks with some paint. Probably a brown. Probably a brown to set this off. I mean, like, or really, when you look at the figure already, okay? So like the kind of scar tissue-y looking stuff where the implants are there, probably that color for some kind of little flecks of variation in the skin tone, right? To just make everything play well together with what's already there, support the paintwork that's already there, and play off of it. Because also, I mean, he's got definitely some brown, fleshy looking inner parts to his mouth, even before my stuff I did. So probably, what would we call this? Like a brownish, kind of maroon, kind of plum color. That's going to be the next thing we do. That will be the next thing we do. We'll do that. We'll seal it up, and while we work on that, we'll think of what we want with the armor. We'll think about it. We'll debate it. Anyway, so that's the next step. We'll be back. Okay, so dots were added, as you can see. I went in and used kind of a maroon looking color. Where the hell did it go? There it went. Cobalt red. For the base, and I tried to focus more on the lighter colors to have that. And then the next thing you can see is just a little bit here and there. And just some bright ass lime green. And just on the front, just in a couple areas, just a little something to set it off. And I think I'm going to try to do some dry brushing on the metal. So we'll do that, and then we'll come back. Welcome back to the next to last, or the next to last step. We're getting close. We're getting close. I kept it real simple. I didn't want to do some drastic changes on the armor, and I was like, I'm leaning more towards weathering than flashy stuff, because I've done a lot of flashy things, and I wanted a little different. Wanted to low key it, but still wanted to do something, give it more pop, give it more contrast. So what we did, some silver paint. Any silver paint will do. Makeup brush. I unloaded it. I dabbed it on the paper, and I unloaded it to like maybe there's like 20% of the paint on here, but it's well distributed from the bristles. And just gently brush it. Just gently, because you can barely tell I've done anything here. You probably wouldn't even notice unless I pointed out to you that there's some more silver on there. Because then after that, I went in with my dark tone, and then I applied it to all the creases. And now it definitely has, it's bolder now, right? Like, 'cause if I didn't do something to that armor, it was just going to be like, it would disappear under the rad ass skin paint job. So what do we got left now? A little bit of washes, because he has an extremely textured skin. We want to keep adding to those textures. We've done enough with colors now to where we're not going to lose volume and stuff. Like, it's a very bright contrast between the light and the dark areas. So now we can go and hit it with some wash. And shout out to my mom to point out, she's like, the mouth doesn't look as juicy as the other Predator does. And I was like, I didn't even notice it, but she's right. Like, I did the washes, but it does look dry, because I mean, I've been using a matte varnish to seal things in. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you listen to your fucking mom. She's right. So what we'll do is we're going to use Mr. Gloss Medium back there to juicy up his mouth. Looks like he's got some saliva. So basically, yeah, apply the wash, gloss the mouth, another coat of varnish to seal it in. Actually, wait, I'll probably have to do the gloss last, because the matte varnish will dull down the gloss of the mouth. But you know what's happening here. This is essentially the final step, and we'll be done with our just badass Stoneheart revamp. I'm actually shocked that I got done with this in one night, but I mean, I guess it's just because I got all excited and just slammed it out. So, almost here, finished, almost to the finish line. I'll be back. Be right back. Okay, and that's it. That's all she wrote. That is my version of the Borgia family's Predator killer. As stated, did my washes, sealed them up, did the gloss in the mouth. I also did the gloss on the wounds, because like they're probably going to be slimy, from being gross wounds where the things connect to the body, right? That's it. This is a lot of fun. If you liked it, there's more to come. I'm having fun with this. Hope y'all are having fun watching and learning about it. And now you know how to do this yourself. This was not hard. It was just a lot of steps. That's all. So, this was the Stoneheart revamp. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.